In this video, we're going to look at why simply just investing more into your brand isn't a good enough strategy to position your brand as premium. And at the end of this video, you will know what internal work your brand needs to do before throwing money to polish your brand. Most founders think their brand looks cheap because they haven't invested enough. More design, better fonts, a cleaner website, but that is not why. Seven-figure brands don't look cheap because they lack polish. They look cheap because they keep signaling like they're asking for approval. And until that changes, no amount of investment will make the brand feel premium. So that is to say, you fix your brand the way you want it to show up, then before you start throwing money at the brand problem. That is to say, you fix how your brand shows up, then start investing in that direction. At the $3 to $10 million stage, most founders believe branding is output, a reward you earn after traction, something that should naturally upgrade as, the business grows. But that belief works early, when your customers are still very forgiving, when novelty carries perception, when growth still hides incoherence. But at scale, branding stops being decorative and starts being interpretive. At this point, your market isn't asking, is this brand good? They're asking, what does this brand say about me? And if you don't change the way you look at your branding, the invisible cost is that every undecided signal, every attempt to appeal more broadly, every safe design choice trains the market to categorize you as competent and not coveted. What am I trying to say? Cheap-looking brands are not under-designed. They are over-explained. Here's the reframe that most founders miss. Branding is not aesthetics. It is signaling. Signals tell the market who this is for, who it is not for, and what kind of decision this is meant to be. Premium brands don't try to be liked. They try their very best to be legible. Another principle you should plant in your mind is that positioning is decision elimination. If your brand feels like it needs justification, it's because it hasn't eliminated enough wrong buyers. Premium brands remove options. They narrow interpretation. They reduce cognitive load. What most people, or say founders, don't know is that premium is a constraint, not an addition. Not more features, not more pages, not more messages, but fewer colors, fewer promises, fewer expectations. Once you see this, the shift feels obvious, but only in hindsight. Now, let us look at some industries and see how we can apply this premium branding concept to each of them. So the first one we'll look at is premium health and wellness. Most people, or most founders, would say we need to educate customers on why our ingredients are superior. Now, because of this line of thinking, you notice they have long ingredient pages, heavy scientific language, over-credentialing, when they should be saying our customers already believe in quality and they'll choose what they align with. Now, with this new line of thinking, you notice that they would have short ingredient lists, editorial photography, fewer claims, and a stronger presence. So basically shifting from proving effectiveness to signaling discernment. Now let us try the same concept with a SaaS brand, which is a software as a service. So mid-tier brands would probably say something in the line of, let's show every feature so that we can get our customers to see our value. Here, with that kind of thinking, you notice that the layout of their website has feature grids, the tooltips everywhere, and comparison tables. Whereas if they were to adopt the premium branding concept, they would say things like, we design for the buyer who already knows what matters. Here you notice a layout that has one core promise, clean interface previews, and confident omission. This shift makes all the difference in changing the perception of the brand. Alright, last example, luxury consumer brands. Most luxury founders would say our story would differentiate us. There you see the origin story of the brand everywhere, over-explaining, over-emphasizing on brand values and brand culture, which becomes very tiring for a luxury brand. Now, what they should signal, or what they should say instead, is the product is our story. And how this translates is minimal copy, controlled scarcity, and price as positioning. Here, the shift is from narrative heavy to presence heavy. This insight isn't for founders that are trying to level up. It's for founders who already know they're operating above average, but feel their brand hasn't caught up yet. Remember, premium founders don't ask, how do I look more expensive? They ask, what kind of person is this brand for? And what kind of person should feel uncomfortable choosing it? When your brand answers this very, very clearly, price resistance disappears. Pitching becomes easier. Expansion becomes clearer. Not because you tried harder, but because you removed ambiguity. Here's the question worth sitting with. If your brand had to repel half your audience right now to become unmistakably premium, would you let go? Because the brands that still look cheap at 7 figures are the ones still trying to be chosen. And premium brands don't wait for permission, they decide. Hope this was very helpful. I'll see you in the next video.